Haredi world is like Dar Midbar. They don't want to go in there to Israel. They just want to have a neshama experience. But to deal with physical, working the land, emotional struggles, money issues, abuse issues, my wife, my kids, the emotional struggles my kids have. I want to learn 3 star a day. I know Kol Hashas, and that's not my problem. And it's definitely not what Hashem wants.
It's hard to think that they know everything that Hashem wants, though.
What?
That.
What do you say?
That's all that Hashem wants to them.
You're right. There's also a guy over there that says, "I know, you don't." That's why it stays, because they're so completely convinced they know. They look. You can have 150 proofs in front of you. It's not that way. My kid's suffering. Now it's the Yotzim B'Sheila, right? And no, doesn't matter the house.
Tell me about it.
You were thrown out? Wow.
Been living on my own since I'm 16.
Yeah. And your parents won't take you back now, even if you went back now?
Now that I'm religious, yeah, but let's say when I told my father I want to go to yeshiva, first question he asks is like, what kind of hat does the rabbi wear?
Oh.
Like, that's the most important part of Judaism.
Which is why I don't wear a hat. That's why I wear this kippah. Because it has nothing to do with connection to Hashem.
Just so you know, it's because I'm bald.
But what's the reason?
Okay.
What's the reason?
Well, it's a nice hat.
It's a way. It's a way to be authentic, and I don't think authentic has any type of. Everyone needs a certain way of dressing.
But isn't
It's
it
part of your.
halacha to cover your head with 2 coverings? Like that's the reason.
For sure, not a halacha. It's for sure not a halacha. Beis Yosef writes where it comes from is a Beis Yosef Hilchos Tzitzis that the Talmidei Chachamim were noheg to wear 2 coverings. So Baba Sali did that. You want to be Baba Sali? That's your job.
Actually, I was in shul today, and I was standing next to a guy who was wearing a black hat and a frock and everything. And his davening felt like it was Yom Kippur, like worse, like
Tisha B'Av,
yeah, more Tisha B'Av.
Skadel v'skadesh Shemei Rabbah.
Actually,
Who died?
No, I really felt like someone died, and then
Because it did smell bad.
and you know what the truth is,
Wow.
and he for sure felt like I felt his energy. He for sure felt this is the highest way to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu.
No, for sure he does.
And he was like, from sadness. Oh, mamish. And I was trying to like combat him, so I started singing a little bit during davening and trying to be. He for sure looked at me like I'm like some like off the dark hippie, hippie whippy jippy. But I was like, I wanted to turn around, but the only reason that stopped me, one being my Hebrew is not so good, and I would just sound like an idiot. But B, that he just wouldn't makabel at all. I know this type. He would not makabel at all. But I wanted to be like, you really think Hashem wants you in your atzvus and in your like, in your pachad, like so scared. You think that's what he wants? That's not what he wants. It's not tefillah. I don't know what you think this is.
The Zohar Kodesh says that everything starts milamata, right? So the reason why you need influence Hashem b'simcha is because when you're happy and you have a smile on your face, then Hashem responds with a smile on his face. We create the world. So if you're sad, then you'll experience sadness. Mefurish in the Zohar.
You know, actually, it's interesting because one time I was at this big makubal at a table like this, and I was dating for like 20 years, super sad, not married. And I remember like they said l'chaim, and in my heart I was like so sad, I don't want to say l'chaim. Then I pushed myself to say l'chaim, and I was like l'chaim. And he looked at me, he's like, "You're getting married." He just like turned to me and he's like, "You're getting married." And then
When you got married, man.
a couple months later, like maybe a month later, I met my wife.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
But it was like, I know that feeling of when you feel so down and you have to rally for happiness, and that's like a midah that we have as Jews that is so powerful. That's like the real powerful midah we have. Is because if you put on a smiley face, and I don't mean like a fake, like those guys that are like all like hi, and you like they look like they're good. I'm just saying, like, you really gotta You know what I'm talking about? British, most of them. And anyway, so
Yeah.
They're always smiling.
Not a fake smile.
anyway, yeah.
Oh.
So not a fake smile, but it's almost like it's a fake. You have, that's really beautiful, reflective, and I'll explain it. But can you explain to me what the deal is with this manifesting, and also like, I'm a naturopathic doctor, so I know a lot of people who went, like I trained with them, and they're all talking about their higher self. They're also talking about they know they're made with divinity juice, so like, but they don't really want to have like a relationship with God. So like, is this not a topic for now? Maybe not. I don't know. But what's
This is
the
your
deal?
topic.
Huh?
This is a topic you want to talk about.
Desperately, yeah. This whole like, I'm gonna manifest, and I'm like, no, I'm already decided what's gonna be,
Okay, so when you pray,
Yeah.
why are you praying? You decided already.
Oh.
And I have a question. Are you gonna convince him? He doesn't want to give you good. Like what do you say? Hashem, give me das. Duh.
I thought the word for like prayer really isn't like too vague. It's like to imagine oneself.
Okay.
It comes from like when Yosef and they met each other, and they're like, he's like, he's like, I never imagined I would see Yosef. Like Yaakov was like, I never imagined. It's the same like root. So it's like imagining. It's like seeing your getting your ruts on going.
Exactly. So Adam Arishon was put into this world, and the world was full of potential. Full of potential of growth of the third day of creation, that it was going to make a beautiful world like Schweiz, okay? Didn't happen. Till Adam came into the world, and he prayed.
Rain.
What did he pray?
Right.
He said, I want, what's rain? Rain is Hashem giving himself over to us, like Zerah. I want you here,
Yeah.
okay? I want to receive you. And I want the receiving to look like this. Greenery, incredible beauty, and Hashem gave Geshem. And why did he do that? Why didn't he just make it himself? He made the world
Finish it off.
because he doesn't want the world to be created by him. He wants the world to be created by us. Mahu borei, af ata borei.
Hashemayim shemaim la'Hashem va'aretz nasan lebnei adam.
B'diuk. Hashemayim shemayim l'Hashem. He put all of the, what shemayim mean? Shemayim means the rules that govern everything. Okay? Ha'aretz nasan lebnei adam. Now we can manipulate those rules, we can manipulate those things, and decide how we want the world to look. Okay? But it's in our power. Tefillah is the same thing as manifestation. What it is I decide how much Hashem is revealed in the world. So what I talk about, I said, Ata chonen adam das. You know who you are, Hashem? You're the one who creates das. I'm relating to the source of das. And therefore I would like, since this exists in the world, I would like to harness this creative power that you have, and it should be applicable in this respect that I should have Chachma, Bina, Vadas. After I did that, Baruch Ata Hashem, Chonin Hadas. I'm already convinced that it happened. Because I'm saying a bracha. Wow, thank you for giving me das. Chonin Hadas. What happened? Oh, he can speak about it. So he wants us to relate to him as he's the source, but we decide how the source is going to be expressed. When we express our ratzon, then his ratzon is exactly what we want. Which is why, it's just like your wife comes and tells you, you know what I really want? I really want you to get me this dress.
Yeah.
The second she says that, you want to get her that dress. Because she said it.
Right.
Okay? So, that's how all of we work. We manifest. Which means we go up, we understand the source of the world. It's like an outer body experience. We see how the world is all potential, and there's all creative power, and we create it. The reason why people don't want to involve God is because of the relationship issues. They feel that he's not nice, controlling, fearful, all these low kind of things. They want to go to a higher place than that. If they're manifesting, they for sure have a God concept. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it the universe, you can call it God, you can call it the source, whatever you want to call it.
It's interesting you say that. No, because like I feel like I never do it, but I always talk about the universe. And I had this intrinsic intuition that if I was to say that, I would get at a better place than if I was going to talk to the God, which I have filtered through the yeshiva system. And
What does the word Havaya mean? Shem Havaya. It means the universe. It means the reality, what exists.
It's like I'm like tainted. Like I'm tainted too much.
You're not tainted. You have negative influences. That's your job to fix.
But Hashem controls all the outcomes, so we don't really have control over them.
Okay, so this is something that you have to balance. Hashem leaves us complete control.
Complete control.
Listen, in that, our bechira is the only factor which influences our life. At the same time, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, everything that happens in the world comes from His control. Okay? What the Ramchal explains it as, there are two different sdarim. There are two different things going on at the same time, that one is hidden within the other. In other words, a mushal form, right? When it rains, why does it rain? Science will tell you there's all kinds of cloud formations, seeds, I don't even know, all this rain. Okay, it's all true, right? It's all emes, right? But we say in Kriya Shema, the reason it rains is because we do mitzvahs, which is true. Okay? What's true is that they work together. There's an outer trappings of a system and an inner trappings of a system which hides within that. Okay? There's Ashgacha Pratis, which hides within the teva of how the world works on a scientific level. Both are true always. It won't be that the Schar Va'onesh will break that system of teva. It will work within it. But if you're wise, you look at the teva and say, wait, I understand there's rain over here, but why did it work out when the Jews were good, then the cloud formations went like this, and why did it work out when they're not, the cloud formations went like this? Oh, there's another system which is on top of the cloud formations. Okay? Now, the same thing is true with our Bechira and what's called Yichud Hashem. There is never one rega where Hashem is not completely in control of the world and moving it always towards the most incredible universe that ever was created in the world. Never 1 second. However, He doesn't take away our Bechira. He works within our Bechira. And when we make bad choices, He uses that to get to the good place. There are a few times when He does interfere. Few times. And breaks the rules. For example, one is Yom Kippur. Okay, all these averos, they don't exist. Okay, one was Yitzias Mitzrayim. One will be, if we don't participate, the Geul will happen anyway. No matter what.
What about on Rosh Hashanah when He decides how much money you're going to make?
That's a relationship. You decided that, not Him. It just means, the way they describe it, right, that a person signs their maskim to the psak. What that means is you're in a system that whatever you do has an impactful reaction, right? So therefore you're going to say, yeah, I did this. But he's involved because it's a relationship. So he reacts to you.
So what's bittul then? Isn't the purpose is bittul?
Okay, so this is a deep concept that you only can understand if you're married. Okay, so I'll give it over to you as best as I can. I do not think that without the mashal, it's really understood. But bittul means that you give yourself over totally from your own desire, not forced in any way, shape, or form. And then He takes you to a place with completely controlling you that you chose to be there. Complete choice, but you're experiencing something which is way above you, making things happen. But you chose. You chose the relationship. You created the kli for that relationship, and now it's what every man wants his wife to be. Receive him.
Right.
But she is getting from him. She didn't make the zera. But if she wasn't the kli to receive the zera, then he wouldn't want to give it. That's the mashal of the whole world. We make ourselves a kli, and He comes to the degree that we make ourselves more of a kli, which means we're okay with not being in charge. But we are in charge of ourselves, completely.
Are you saying that if a person is poor, they're only making X amount every month? It's because they made themselves a small claim?
Very, very, very well could be. It's also possible that Hashem decided that this person needs to be poor because of their tikkun of the world, like Gemara Nida says, that tipa, the malach brings the tzipa in front of Hashem and says Nigzar alav ani ve'ashir, but you don't know until you check all of your bechiros, and then you can make that decision. In other words, if a person is supposed to be poor, then they have the ability to be totally satisfied and happy and an amazing life like that. And it's not part of their existence.
If they really want to be rich.
Then probably they weren't, that wasn't their gzera, because they wouldn't want it.
So then they don't have control.
There are certain things you do not have control of. For example, if you're Edmoni, right, the Gemara says you can be either a moel, a shoichet, or a rotzeach.
You like blood, just say.
Right. Now, you can't not like blood, because that's your teva. But you have the choice as to what to do with it. There are certain times we are given specific circumstances. You can't, person went through abuse, you don't have a choice that you didn't go through abuse. That wasn't one of your realm of choices. You needed to have this experience, right? What you do with it is your choice. So a person who's poor and is totally fine with it, and their life runs beautifully, and no one's complaining, and it's great, and the kids are being taken care of, and it's poor. It looks like being poor, right? The Chavetz Chaim wanted to be poor.
But Hashem doesn't like poor. He says it's like death, right?
Ein ani ela bedas. Ezel asher samech bechelko. He did not feel at all poor. And ani is death because he can't create his own reality. But if you have everything you need, then I did it. What's missing?
So
I'm not died, I'm alive.
People talk about manifesting, going back to this question, right? So I'm going to manifest $1 billion, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So could a person who has had a gezerah that they're going to be poor manifest wealth?
It depends what you mean by gzeir. You mean that there was created, that's their tafkid?
That's the topic.
Or that they did something in their life, which the reaction of that is that they lose money. Which one do you mean?
Both.
Okay, so the reaction of that, of course, can change based on his actions. And one of it might be manifesting. Of course.
And if they had a gezerah that was their tafkid in life, then they can't change that.
They probably wouldn't want to manifest. They probably couldn't manifest because they don't care.
Meaning, if you have a rotzon to manifest, then it must be that that your tafkid in life is to be able to do it. Is that what you're saying?
It could be, but you have to be medayek. If you're living someone else's life, means someone told you to manifest and this is a successful person, and you do it, but you're not being true to yourself, then no, it's not an indication. But if you're being totally true to yourself, it's like, you know what? I don't care about money. I don't. I care about people being happy, but not money. Right? Oh, you can manifest and change it. If I'm true to myself, I don't care. Then of course that person's supposed to be that level of wealth.
Like, our society literally tells us to like manifest and be wealthy. Do you realize that?
Right.
Do you realize that? It's like literally like everyone's everything. Instagram all the time. Everyone's saying, look at me, I'm beautiful, I'm rich, da-da-da-da-da. It's a rut zone that you're supposed to have. And if you don't have it and you can't put up the fat stacks, then something's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what society says.
Wow.
That's not necessarily true.
Right.
That's just like
that's
literally
Chemdas
what
Hamamon.
you've been jamming in your head.
That's
for, like,
Chemdas Hamamon. What it means, Chemdas Hamamon means power, respect are people who are powerful, who have a lot of money. That's what it means.
It's
You just said supposed, and I just realized that supposed is superimposed.
woo, woo.
That's cool.
Anyway,
Just thought of that. That's
Does that help you with the manifestation topic?
I think so. I mean, yeah. I'm not like one for this. Like, there's a lot of ideas here that are new to me, so it's not necessarily like I don't think of like I guess everyone's in their own little system. So for
Mhm.
me, I think really like I've been living a little more like like it's not the manifesting. It's just that I think of like okay, what Hashem wants, fine. Like that's what it is, and then but there's something definitely going on, and it's true, and it happens in a microcosmic way because you look when you really want something that you're manifesting.
I mean,
Well, you have to be
you don't
you have to
realize
be careful of
you're
the victim mentality. Hashem wants it that way, so I have to accept it.
in Yeretz Hashem, people say it all the
Right,
time.
but you're not a victim. You control the world. So
Wait,
who says Hashem is the point? Oh yeah, what do you want?
you
Right.
control the world. That sounds like Koach Betzim Yadi, which is Avodah Zarah.
He gave you control of the world, but he didn't relinquish control, so he works within your control. So therefore you have to know you're always in relationship. The second he doesn't want it to happen, it won't. Right? And even if what you do want, and he'll work with you, it's always much greater than anything you can imagine of what the point of all of this is. Because he's running the world, not you. But it doesn't mean it doesn't give you power. He gives you incredible power. People don't want that because they have to take responsibility.
That could be rad.
Like, I don't feel like it. I'm blaming on Hashem. Much easier.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, Hashem, you do it.
That's
Maybe that's what Hashem meant when Lama Tatsuaka, why are you crying out to me?
Like-
Like you have a responsibility to do something. Do
Torah
it.
Chaim HaKadosh does exactly that. Do an action.
But that's not fair because he did everything for us in Mitzrayim, and now he's saying do an action. We're like, but you did everything else, so do this. You know?
So he's telling us grow up.
That's what Eretz Yisrael is growing up.
Grow up. That was then. This is now.
What about Shara B'Tachon? If you look at Shara B'Tachon, it sounds like, and maybe I need to look at it again, but everything Shara B'Tachon pretty much says is almost like everything is Hashem. Like you're not doing anything. Like even your actions are really not. Your actions have no effect on the outcome. That's Shara B'Tachon, right?
Not that what he means is that it's not an egotistical situation where only you are there. He has to be maskim. And if he's not maskim, nothing will happen. But he did not tell you that the reason he was maskim is because you did something. That wasn't his topic. His topic was don't think that if he's not involved in the relationship. He's there also. And therefore, at the end of the day, the reason why it happens is because he let it. But there's a difference between letting something and making something. We made it and he let. Like it says in the pasuk, who made the witches? You did. But he gave you the koach to do it.
Which witches are you talking about?
The pasuk says, and people get rich. You get all haughty, you forgot about Hashem. And then you went to worship idols, and he says, you say, Kochi v'otzim yadi asi isachal zeh. My koach, right, and my internal strength made this wealth. Chayil hazeh. And he says, no. He says, don't, Zachaz Hashem Elokecha, ki hu hanos necha koach lasos chayil. He gave you the power, the energy to make yourself wealthy. But he didn't make you wealthy. He gave you the energy, the koach lasos chayil. Josh Saran says, you see from there, that Hashem gives you the raw materials, the potential. He does not do it for you. When he does it for us, it's a very not developed relationship like in Mitzrayim. It's not what the purpose of the world is. And the Geula Asida will not look like that. It will look like Purim. It'll be much more of the Klal Yisrael doing things and Hashem working within Klal Yisrael. But it won't be Bahastara, like what Purim was. It won't be hidden. You'll see. We fight a war. We have all these things, and then he shows up. It's like, okay, we did all this stuff, but something else happened over here. I told you this story. I have a very close friend who's very high up in Tzal. The guys like this story. So he told me once a mission that there was a mechabel they had to take out. Okay, so they took a private plane. Okay, he parachuted down onto the roof. Okay, he's done this 200 times.
Your friend done this?
Yeah, 200 times. He's on top of the roof. And what they do is they tie a rope down on top of the roof, and they go head first down the building. Down the building, head first down the building. They roll themselves down. He gets on top of the window, okay, and he waits for the signal from his men that it's safe to go in, okay. So what's supposed to do is go lower down the window, and take out the bad people and go back, okay. What happened was he tried to lower himself down, stuck. The thing won't do it, okay. And instead, what happened was his head was completely in the sight of the window. So he's sitting there dangling upside down, okay, and the enemy is like right here. So he quickly pulls himself up, and he tries to fix the rope. What happened is the rope snapped, wrapped around his foot, and tore his ligament.
Ow.
Okay, so he's sitting in the middle of the window, okay, with his leg all tied up. His team is freaking out because they know something's going on. Okay, so what's he gonna do? He's dead dog. So what does he do? He flings himself into the window, okay? He falls out on the floor and in front of a bunch of mechablim, a bunch of terrorists, okay? They're looking at him. They're laughing because it's a ridiculous predicament. And they start shooting and he starts shooting,
Oh my God.
okay? Air clears. They're all dead and he's alive.
Whoa.
Okay, his team shows up, for backup shows up, they walk into the room, all the people are dead. Now explain that. Okay, explain that. He said, I can't tell you how many times, uncountable times, where a terrorist pointed a gun to my head, pulled the trigger, and it didn't work. The gun locked,
Safety low.
just didn't work. Can't tell me how many times that happened. Okay? He showed up. He learned how to parachute. He learned how to climb over. He trained himself hundreds and hundreds of hours, right? He has incredible skill. He knows how to use weapons, right? He's a super fighter, and he's like Rambo. And then Hashem shows up. That's the Geula, so he doesn't look like.
See, what I'm thinking and what you're talking about is like, well, then why did it have to like get all caught around his leg and ripped his leg? You know what I'm saying? Like
There's a reason.
My head goes.
There's a reason. And he had to learn something from that
I guess
experience.
to show that Hashem's with him, because otherwise he wouldn't have.
You're right, but the fact that he had a torn ligament didn't have to happen for Hashem to show he's with him. There's a message in that torn ligament that he needs to learn. For example, I'll tell you another story, okay? He once had a meeting in a Arab palace, which you'll identify. if you,
Palace.
in Dubai, okay? And obviously he wasn't looking like a Jew. And in Dubai, the head of Dubai has a lion, a white lion.
A white line.
Pet white lion. Never saw this? You can look on YouTube. A
What
pet white lion. Okay?
is that?
A lion
Lion.
that was genetically engineered to be white, and it's a pet.
Wait, it's a pet.
I mean,
It's his
these
pet.
lines are white.
A lion?
Oh, maybe it wasn't
Oh,
generally.
lion.
A lion,
Oh,
Aryeh.
a lion. A freak
Is
of
that-
a lion.
Yes.
Do you see my sticker?
A white lion.
Okay, now
Thank you so much.
the
He's
word.
under the cover.
Okay, the world. The way that works over there is in this king. If the lion thinks you're an enemy, he eats you. Okay, and if he doesn't, you're not an enemy.
What's your form of view when he went into the thing and those two lions came in?
So now this man, who's my friend, okay, the lion walks over to him, looks at him face to face. I'm pretty sure he opened up his mouth, okay, and he took his hand, put it on top of the head of the lion, calmed the lion down, and the lion sat next to him the entire time, and everything was fine. He says that the lion never made a mistake, except for this time. Okay? Now, that's the story. Now, this person, he comes to me because I'm a Rav, and he wants to discuss moral and ethics of warfare. Spiritual, moral, and ethics of warfare. So he comes to me and says, why did Hashem freak me out with that lion? And we had an entire conversation about his midos. Didn't need him. Or what happened in his life that he needed to go through that experience. So nothing is by accident. We have, it's not like we sometimes have miracles when we fight wars. Everybody who's high up, they'll tell you there is always miracles. Always, every fight. He says we do the dumbest mistakes in warfare sometimes. We mess up, all the rules are broken, and we still win. It's completely ridiculous. That's a perfect example of Hashem runs the world. But the reason he did it that way is because we showed up and fought the war. Have he sat back and said, Akol b'dei shamayim, he would have said, okay. You decided you want to fight? You want to fight?
But it is. Hakol b'dei Shemayim, chutz mi'yirah Shemayim. How do you understand?
Chutz mi'yirah shamayim includes every bechira that you do. Because if something is right, the yirah shamayim is mechayev to do it, then you have to do it because of yirah shamayim. So if it's right to fight the enemy, to protect my brother, then yirah shamayim, they fight for God. They don't fight for themselves. Yirah shamayim tells them to fight. And then once you have yirah shamayim, then he takes over.
So what would be an example where it's Hakol b'dei Shemayim? What would fit in that category of Hakol b'dei Shemayim?
Things that are not have to do with bechira sada. For example, the childhood you had, the midos that you were ingrained midos that you have, the combination of your neshama and your guf, who your parents are, and even that there's some sort of bechira that the Svarim say the neshama chooses is like I want to go there. But there are certain situations Hashem says this is what we need to go through because this is your tikkun. A lot of times it's because we chose it because we did a certain bechira. In order for us to do tikkun, we need to go through this. Right? But he decides that now you need to go through this. You can't decide, okay, I'm not doing tikkun now. I don't feel like it. Right? For example, one of the things that happens to people when they commit suicide is that they need to go through it again. They come back into the world, do this actually the same thing again. That's why you shouldn't commit suicide. Because you have to do it.
So that's good.
The guy can't say, listen, Hashem, listen, I don't need this. Leave me alone. I won't mataken this. Oh, yes, you will. 1 time, 2 times, 10 times, 14 times, 100 times. You're going to mataken it. That we don't have a choice about. Because he created the world for us to do
So it's
tikkun.
good to commit
He did not ask you if you want to do tikkun in this world. Right? But you make the tikkun, not him.
You do the work.
Okay, let's take a break. Okay?